Was actually practicing law the past 10 or so years what it was cracked up to be?
No. The worst parts about practicing law is billing. For billing, I need to write you a letter, bill for that. Write you an email, bill for that. Call you, bill for that.
Basically, you're at best a highly paid hourly worker.
Oh, yeah, essentially. Because I know what I'm being billed at and I know what I'm getting paid. And there's a discrepancy.
Any advice for the white progressive folks who are trying to toe the line between sounding too woke and just being supportive of our black friends? Like, I don't want to out woke you.
Right. You literally can't. All anybody wants to do is to basically be like treated the same and left alone.
Sure.
And if you feel that there is an injustice, that injustice isn't to be addressed with me. You got to take it to whoever you think is perpetrating that injustice. When you find out about some new systematic racism in the world, don't run to the black person you know and be like, oh, did you know this? Because we know. Like, go run to your family. Go run to your other white friends and shit. Go tell them that, because we've been aware. Like, we're operating under it.
We wanted to make sure we also didn't like come off as
condescending white people.
Yeah, like
it's impossible not to, right? It's impossible not to go like. There's going to be someone that finds something that you do condescending, right? I was raised by an immigrant. Like, my dad's Jamaican. My dad worked his ass off. He tried to get me in the best schools that he could. He tried to enforce an education upon me and all those things. And he also was very much like, you ain't a victim, right? No matter what, you're not a victim. So I'm not asking for your leg up. I'm asking not to be held down, right?
Like they have check black person community college.
It's almost as if they're like begging us. They're like begging us for a revolution. Like,
I agree.
LawFlip, objection, your honor. Turn the game upside down. LawFlip, objection, your honor. Turn the game upside down.
Welcome to LawFlip. It's a conversation about law, life, Black Lives Matter, black entrepreneurship, starting a law firm as a black man or woman. I'm Benjy Smith with my partner, Lou Benowitz.
Hola.
And a few months ago, in solidarity with our black brothers and sisters over the systematic racism that has limited their access to tools and resources that privileged white people like us get to enjoy, we started an initiative called the LawFlip Head Start Initiative, helping a black attorney launch a law firm. The initiative was to offer office space and other resources to encourage black lawyers to start their own law firm. And so our guest is the winner of the initiative. What's weird is we had a really hard time trying to find applicants, even though we had so many people willing to pour in resources, but we found the perfect fit. The dude is smart, went to law school with us, and is also funny. Are those the same things? I don't know, but he has a good time. Aston Wallace also has one of the great names ever.
Aston Patterson Wallace. It's all good. Hey, nice to meet you. And thank you guys for having me.
Yeah.
Here. Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, we're happy to have you. Okay, so please go to youtube.com/lawflip and lawflip.com to sign up to be the first to get notified for our giveaways, deals, and announcements. So let's flip the game upside down. Aston, we were having a good time before we are on air, talking about all things politics, life, law, shaving our neck, doing all sorts of weird stuff. But first, before we get to anything, we have a new phone number, everybody. It's 1-833-LawFlip. Everybody repeat after me. 1-833-LawFlip. Okay. Aston, tell us your story. Where did you grow up?
I'm from West Philadelphia. No, I'm from right outside of Philadelphia. I've been out here since law school, so since about 2004. Went to school at Indiana University of Pennsylvania, not to be confused with IU, which is in a small ass town in western Pennsylvania. And then, I've been here ever since. I'm not going back. Love it here, and LA's home now.
And you went to law school at Loyola?
I went to law school at Loyola,
We went to.
Indeed.
And why did you want to become a lawyer?
Honestly, it was one of those things where you're young, you're trying to figure out what to do with your life, and you're smart, and so if people are going, you're smart, you should go into this, that, and I was kind of looking into different things to do. I went to what do you call it? It was like a conference for young black professionals to get into grad school. Actually smoked a cigarette with Barack Obama there. This was back in like...
Wait, hold on. All right, we'll come back to that in a second. Go ahead.
Yeah.
All right,
I didn't know it was Barack Obama, but it was like Shaka Fatah, who I think ended up like going to jail or something. But it was a lot of it was in Philadelphia, and it was a lot of professionals there, and I went there. I was thinking of going to business school. Talked to a bunch of business schools, and I was like, that's not for me. And then talked to some law schools, and I was like, yeah, this is kind of the type of mind I have. It's a thing that a lot of people always suggested to me after, like professors, different things. And so I went with it, and I took the LSAT, and I thought it was fun, which is, I guess, weird. I was like,
That is weird.
Yeah, I was like, this is a fun test.
Okay, let's go back to the Barack Obama story because we can't gloss over that. Is there anything more to the story other than you just know that you smoked a cigarette with Barack Obama?
Yeah, I didn't know who the guy was.
Because he loves cigs. I mean,
he loves cigs, and it's in a conference of black professionals. There's not a lot of black smokers, at that thing. So
Really?
it's just no, like.
Okay.
No, black professionals don't be smoking cigarettes like that.
But just out of curiosity, how did you retroactively figure out that this was Barack Obama?
Yeah, I knew the group of guys that I was like standing with.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So that's a great story.
But it was
you smoked a
2000
cigarette with Barack Obama. That's amazing.
Yeah,
Okay.
I saw Hillary Clinton in 1990 as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're on this journey now to starting your own law firm.
Yes.
But was actually practicing law the past 10 or so years what it was cracked up to be?
I am going to go with no.
Why?
Is what I would say. Well, I've done a few different areas of law. It's mostly been in workers' comp, which is the field I'm going into now. I've done some civil litigation. I've done some family law. And both of those, they were supposed to be more exciting than, workers' comp is or something like that. But they weren't. They were the same.
Why?
It's a lot of.
What was the worst parts about practicing law?
Okay, the worst parts about practicing law is billing, in my personal opinion.
What is billing?
Okay, so yeah, billing is accounting for the time that you spent on the work that you do.
Why does that suck, Aston?
And billing sucks because you do it 6 minutes at a time, and because for me personally, I think it is anti-efficiency. So instead of me like being able to go, I need to do like A to B and get all of this done. One, I have to stop and account for my time while I do it and make sure I catch all that time so you can get your billing minimums. But also if it's a situation where I'm like, okay, I need to settle a case. I need to call you to settle my case, and I need to call you to get like authority to settle my case. So I can call you, get the authority, and I can call you, make the offer, and then we can settle the case. But that's efficient. For billing, I need to write you a letter, bill for that. Write you an email, bill for that. Call you, bill for that. And then write you a letter, call you. Maybe file for a hearing.
When you say you have to, you don't literally have to. You are incentivized to do so.
You are incentivized to do so.
Because it'll make more money for the law firm that you work for.
Exactly.
Which you no longer work for, or which you will no longer work for.
Right, exactly. So yeah, I don't find that to be extremely fun, or like I said, efficient.
Is it also because like you're at best a highly paid hourly worker?
Oh yeah, essentially, because I know what I'm being billed at and I know what I'm getting paid, and there's a discrepancy.
Actually, it's worse than that. It's an exempt worker. If he were hourly, he'd see the fruits of all his labor.
Right,
That's
exactly.
true.
Yeah, so there's that, so that's one part I don't love, because I mean at the end of the day, we're trying to, especially in workers' comp, I'm trying to get things done for someone who is injured, or bring this case to a resolution. And I think the most efficient way is to do it.
So workers' comp. What is workers' comp?
So workers' compensation, if you're not familiar, is when you get injured at work. Generally, if you get injured at work, what's supposed to happen is you tell your boss that you're injured, your boss gets you treatment, you go for the treatment, you recover, you return to work. Sometimes an injured worker feels that the care that is being provided or not provided by their employer is inefficient, or not efficient, isn't adequate. And so if that's the case, then you hire an attorney, and then they will help you to get the care that you feel you deserve, and then ultimately, compensation for the permanent disability that you've suffered as a result of your work injury.
And you have historically been on the defense side, meaning like you've basically been trying to, when you say you were trying to take care of the workers, yes, you were trying to facilitate the care, but you were on the defense side.
Well,
for lack of better words, you're trying to diminish or minimize the amount of money that the applicant, the person that gets injured, obtains.
Well, I started on the applicant side. So I spent the first few years of workers' comp on the applicant side. A lot of time, well, not a lot of times, the first two firms I worked for were two larger applicant, or, the injured worker. They represent the injured worker, but they're large firms, which you could call a mill, and they're bringing in a ton of cases. Some of them aren't quality cases. Some of them are quality cases. But with that number of cases, if you're doing, 5 to 10 cases a day, every day of the week, it's a little difficult to get familiar with the case, to deeply be involved, to get to know your client, do that sort of thing. And you get a lot of not quality cases. And after doing that for a while, one thing was I wanted to learn both sides. If I'm going to stay in this industry, is what I'm thinking then. Like, if I'm going to stay in this industry, I want to know everything about this industry. So let me go spend some time on the other side and figure out what's going on there. So if I ever do come back onto this other side, I can serve them better. But also, I find that a lot of the insurance companies kind of have a position, and the defense side kind of have this position of all these cases are fake.
Right.
So, you have a guy who's maybe falling through a ceiling or something. He's got 3 broken ribs and a collapsed lung, and they're going, he's not that bad. And you're like, well, what medical report are you looking at, right? And so I kind of felt that on the other side, on the defense side, I could do a better job of helping people that are actually injured. Versus, fighting the ones that aren't.
Sure.
And it seems obvious if that's what it would be, but in the industry, it's kind of this like dark side, light side type of thing. And I'm like, no, it's a dark planet that we're on, and we're dealing with people who are injured. We're dealing with people who ideally, if we had like a perfect healthcare system, we wouldn't even be dealing with this, right? Right. So you have these like people who are injured. We have this kind of system that isn't working the best way that it should. And at the end of the day, the way I look at it is even with the fake injuries, right? Mm-hmm. You're still dealing with someone who's trying to get money, right?
Right.
And that's what they're trying to do, is get money, because they don't have money. If they did have a lot of money, they wouldn't even be having this fake injury.
Yeah.
So I thought I could bring a kind of like more compassionate viewpoint to that side.
Cool. Okay. So now you are coming back to the light side. You're representing the employees against the employers. Let's talk about diversity for a second. What's your experience in terms of how many other black brothers and sisters you have seen in the legal field, and how challenging that's been?
I'll just be calling them black people. I don't be calling them black brothers and sisters. But
Why? Sorry.
I'm sorry. I talk shit.
By the way, I also want to let's actually get to this. So two white progressive folks trying to be. Any advice for the white progressive folks who are trying to toe the line between sounding too woke and just being supportive of our black friends? Right.
All right. So I would say for that, which is like a thing, and I'm in the movement, if you will, and all that, and I get a lot of people like
I don't want to out woke you.
Right. You literally can't. So like, and what I'd say is, like, for the most part, all anybody, right? All anybody wants to do is to basically be like treated the same and left alone.
Sure.
Right. So for me, like, I can't speak for everyone, obviously. Like, I feel way differently than a lot of black people, because we all feel differently about everything. And but for me, I would be like, just like treat me the same. And if you feel that there is an injustice, that injustice isn't to be addressed with me. You know what I mean? Because I'm not the one having the issue. If you feel that there's injustice in the world, you got to take it to whoever you think is perpetrating that injustice, right? So if you're like, oh, like Aston, like I used to like tell a joke that was basically like, you know, when you find out about some new systematic racism in the world, don't run to the black person, you know, and be like, oh, did you know this? Because we know. Like, go run to your family.
Kind of experience
Go
that
run to
my
your
whole
like
life
other
here.
white friends and shit. Go tell them that, because we've been aware. Like we're operating under it. So like for us, we just want to, you know, we just want the opportunity to want to be treated the same. Like, and honestly, I think it's a difficult thing to do. It takes work. It takes addressing yourself, checking yourself all the time, because like we all have to check ourselves all the time about everything.
Yeah, I mean, like we have this movement. It's going on. Lewis and I looked at each other like, what the fuck are we supposed to do? We're supposed to do something. So we're like, we thought this would be a good opportunity to like help somebody start a law firm. You were a cool guy.
No, it's great.
Seems like a cool thing, but like we wanted to make sure we also didn't like come off as
condescending white people.
Yeah, like
I mean, and listen, here's the thing. Another thing that's impossible. It's impossible not to, right? It's impossible not to go like, you know, like we want to help a black person, right? You know, there's going to be someone that finds something that you do condescending, right?
Right.
So like, one, you can't please everyone. Two, you know, take solace in the fact that you're doing a good thing, you're helping someone out, and I'm very thankful to you guys for that, and so that's appreciative. And then three, just like, you know, remember that everybody just wants to be like treated the same, like, and to that degree, you know, I was raised by an immigrant. Like, you know, my dad's Jamaican. My dad worked his ass off. He tried to get me in the best schools that he could. He tried to enforce an education upon me and all those things. And he also was very much like, you ain't a victim, right? No matter what, you're not a victim. I can tell you all day about different, you know, ways that I feel I might have been discriminated against or anything else that might have happened. But I'm not gonna like use that as a victim or like make it seem that I'm behind because of it, because, you know, it was always put in me that you're just as good or better than anyone. So I'm not gonna have like some kind of excuse or need a leg up or anything like that.
I think that's one of the, when I see black people say that, I feel more comfortable when I see like right-wing white people say that. I mean, why do you think? I'm trying to figure out why do I feel that way? Why does it annoy me when I see white people say it versus black people? Like when you say it, I'm like, yeah, okay.
Because one, we're also saying it differently.
Right.
All right. So when like a right-wing white person says it, they're not saying it because they actually believe it. It's what I feel, right?
Right.
They're not saying it because they're like, that guy is just as talented as me and he doesn't need the help. Right. That's not what they're saying, because what they say on the other side is like something disparaging about us, right? They're saying it because they're going, I don't want to help him. Mm-hmm. I don't want to help him, right? And then so when I'm saying it, it's literally me going, I'm as dope as anybody else. I'm as smart as anyone else. I'm as capable as anyone else. So I'm not asking for your leg up. I'm asking not to be held down, right?
Okay.
And so that's,
Okay, so and then what are some of the systematic issues that you've seen that you think you and others can help with? So like whether it be like, is there a lack of mentorship, like people say? Is there a lack of financial and other resources?
It literally starts at the beginning, right? Mm-hmm. It starts at like I said, my parents made sure I got to a good school, right? And when I get to the good school, literally from the time I'm in elementary school, they're trying to like put you into a certain group. They had like, you know, behavioral classes that they primarily put black kids in, and my parents literally had to fight to keep us out of those. My parents had to fight for us to get put into the gifted program. I had to argue with my guidance counselor about what schools to go to. They literally recommended me to go to community college as I'm getting scholarships. Like I got scholarships to multiple schools, like academic.
Like they have like a check black person community college.
Like our valedictorian who went to Harvard, when she's asking what school to go to, they're going like, have you looked at Montgomery County Community College? And we're like, you know, it's like, and it's those kind of barriers outside of us that would cause issues. So it's like just the limitation on what is possible. Mm-hmm. What can we do to help it is like, you know, representation matters. Barack Obama for whatever it is, that is a big thing. Like growing up, we literally like you could be president someday, but that becomes an official thing if you consider that like a worthy goal.
Yeah.
So representation does matter, and that helps. But really, it's just like seeing someone and giving them an opportunity.
Do any of your friends that you grew up with or like other black people say, oh, you're a lawyer, like you don't know the struggle that we go through? Do you have that?
Nope.
No?
Nah.
So,
if anything, and here's like a kind of annoying thing, but I don't put this just on me being black. It's also on my, great looks and casual personality. But it's like the shock of it, or the like, like the good for him. Like, I feel like if like, a white person or something is like, I'm a lawyer. People are like, oh yeah, cool. And like me, it's like, whoa,
what are we dealing with here?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Like I went to school and can read. Yeah. Thank you. So like, like that's a thing, but, like when I go to court, and again, this is for my, devilish good looks maybe and my cavalier personality, but like they assume I'm younger, less experienced, or even a lien claimant I get a lot, which like a lien claimant, they're not an attorney, they're there to represent a doctor and collect bills, but we're all in court at the same time.
Where's the attorney, Aston?
Right, exactly. And they're, I get to a deposition and I'm like, all right, hey, everyone, how's it going? It's my deposition, Right. And I'm like, and they're like, hey,
where's your attorney, sir?
Like, so you are, and I'm like, man, this is my deposition. So just like kind of assumptions, maybe.
Yeah.
And like I said, I don't know how people necessarily overcome that, because I don't think it's something that they're doing intentionally. Mm-hmm. And that is a big thing. The people unintentional, like the things that are in their mind, they're automatic responses. So like there's something that one of you guys might say that you wouldn't assume, you guys are like, I'm not racist. And then you might say something and you don't check it, because in your mind you're going, I'm not racist. But like I do it for myself with like sexism and stuff. Right. So I'm always like, I have to listen to whatever a woman says is bothering her, right? And it might be something I've done my whole life that I think is normal and natural, and I know that everyone else does. And if some woman says, this is something that I find offensive, and I have to listen to her. I can't go, well, I don't think it is based because I'm not sexist.
Right.
I'm like, that's what you say it is, so that's what it is. And I have to check myself on it and like learn and grow from that. And I just think that's kind of how we all get better, is like not locking ourselves into this, I'm not this, so I don't need to be checked.
For sure.
Right. So
how do we balance this in the age of cancel culture, though? People will make mistakes and say the wrong things. They won't say them maliciously, but we're also living in a time where people, for saying the wrong things, could fall victim to cancel culture when we want people to evolve and do better.
I mean, because if you've lived anyone of a like real life and good life, and you've actually tried things and done things, we could all be canceled.
Right.
So yeah.
Well, cancel culture is a spectator sport, I think. Which means is cancel culture is happening from a bunch of people who are afraid to put their voice out, really, right? And that's not to say that some people should not be canceled. But it's a spectator sport. And
like Harvey Weinstein should be canceled.
He should be in jail.
Right.
And I argue that like there is no one has effectively been entirely canceled. Right. You either are convicted of a crime, or you sit it out for a little bit and then you make a comeback. Sure. Right. And if you have fans, if people like you, if you're doing something good, if you do something that people want, you're going to be able to make a comeback. And that's not, I don't mean like good and that you're like a good person even, but just like
good content.
Right. People are going to stay unless they lock you up. But I think the answer to that is, how do you do that in the age of cancel culture? And cancel culture is going to have to adjust to this, but the answer is accountability. If you take accountability for what you've done, if you said something terrible 10 years ago, if you come out and go, yeah, whatever, it doesn't matter, like, yeah, all right, cancel, like, because you haven't learned anything, you're going to make that mistake again. But if you take it and you grow, ideally we should go, all right, you've learned the lesson, you're here now, how do we go forward?
Yeah.
And we're not quite there yet, but I'm starting to see even a lot of people within that kind of like not culture and movement, but like, you know, like the wokeness arena that is like, no, there needs to be a place for forgiveness. There needs to be a place for growth, because if
otherwise you go to like the Trump deny,
Right.
and everybody just gets firmed up in their position. You've been open to taking this new shot, starting your firm. Like, what type of deliberations have you endured yourself with talking to your family and everything?
Well, you know, the first person I kind of called on this was my dad. And like, my dad's kind of, you know, I talk to my mom all the time. Me and my dad is kind of like, hey, what's up, Dad? All right, good. All right, here's your mother, right? But you know, if I have like a big like business decision or something, I call my dad, and he was pretty straightforward, you know, like, since he was like, yeah, work for yourself. It was
like the first time. It was like the first time. It was like, hi, Dad. Have we ever talked before?
Yeah,
Did
right.
you ever, it was like, this is the first time it came up after all this time?
Well, no, it's always been his thing. Like,
Okay.
my dad he's always worked for himself. And he's like, yeah, you know me. He's like, I've always set myself up to kind of be my own boss. I don't want to work for someone. I don't want to answer to someone. And he's like, you know, you're smarter than anyone else out there. So yeah, go do it. He's like, I believe in you can get it done. So just go do it. For me personally, I was terrified. I still am, right? Because obviously, one, we're in the time that we're in, right? Two, a steady check is secure, right? It's very secure. It comes every 2 weeks. It's on time. You have to do work. The work's hard. You could be making more. You could be making less, but a good.
But don't you feel so restricted? Don't you feel so creatively restricted? Don't you feel so like, is this really gonna be the way that I'm gonna operate the rest of my life? Like, having basically working on somebody else's schedule. I know you do now, but like,
right? No, I would often think that I'm like, I don't want to. This isn't what I want to be. Like, I don't want to be under somebody in 20 years. Like, I don't, I don't want that.
But I think the fear, I think the institutional. This has nothing to do. I mean, it's related, but it's also just institutional with all of us. Like, the idea of starting your own business as a lawyer just was never something that anybody advocated in law school or anywhere. It was always like, just be part of this kind of like robotic system.
Well, I think a lot of that goes to who law professors are. Most people who are law professors either worked in government or worked in large law firms and then worked in universities, and that was their whole career path.
Yeah. So you went through these deliberations. What do you think it is that made you like sort of, what was the tipping point?
Well, I mean, you know, as soon as like I saw the opportunity, one, we're living in the craziest time of times, right?
Right.
And I knew for a fact, kind of going like partway into it, that I didn't want to come out of it doing the same things I was before. I like, growth has been a huge part of this whole thing for me, right? I think anybody coming out of this thing in the same mind state that they're in, with the same kind of vision for it, like, you had to have done some serious self-checking and reevaluation during this. That coupled with, you know, the opportunity was here, right? You know, you guys are offering something great, which, how, like, who gets that, right? You know, who really, at any point in your career, it's not unheard of, but it's rare, right? It's rare for people to be generously offering what you guys are offering. So there was that was a heavy tip. And yeah, just generally being like, you know, I want to believe in myself. I want to go out here and kind of take control of my own destiny.
I mean, dude, we when we started talking to you about this, we've been on your ass trying to get you to be into it, because we just thought you'd be the perfect person, and we like you, and we just see a lot of great things. So we're super excited. And so, just to be clear, what you're looking for are people who are hurt at work. So we do, a lot of people sort of get confused about this. Lewis and I do employment law. We represent employees, again, you know, in discrimination actions, and class action cases, where people are sort of cheated out of their wages or discrimination or harassment, and you do injuries in the workplace.
Right.
And so you're opening up shop.
Yep.
What is also you're also a comedian and you're an entertainer, and that's one of the things that for sure there's no doubt was sort of restricted, and you weren't able to fully embrace that creative side in your work. Maybe you could have, but like starting your own firm, I think you're going to be able to thrive and bring that comedy and that entertainment into your business, into social media and all that stuff. What do you plan on doing in that regard?
I keep those two things like pretty separate. I mean, aside
You think
from
so? You don't think you're going to be able to combine those two things?
there's no judge that I'm not going to try to like crack a joke or a smile out of, because it just makes people happier, and you let your guard down a little bit, right?
Yeah, I do the
so
same
like
thing.
yeah, you have to.
No, but I'm
So,
talking about
if-
like in marketing and all that stuff.
yeah. I mean, I guess I'll see about that. I mean, I know I keep the law completely out of my comedy.
Yeah,
Because
there's nothing funny about the law.
there's nothing, and it requires like I might hear something funny in a deposition, and like tell that in a joke. You have to like. You'd be like, so I was
I'm
at
a
a
lawyer.
deposition, and then you'd be like, okay, so here's what a deposition is, and here's what the party, and the court reporter, and what the court reporter's doing. And it's like you have to go
Right.
through admonitions just to set up a joke, and it's just never going to be worth it. And also,
I think you are not considering, like you haven't fully jumped into this yet. Once you get into it, you're going to see you have to promote and market yourself, and you're going to use your creativity in that.
oh well, yeah. I mean, I guess I would use my like before I was a comic. I was using my creativity and everything anyway, right?
Right.
Which led me to comedy, right?
Sure.
So yeah, I mean, I'm sure that'll be a part of it. But like really, what I like about working with injured workers, and even when I was on the defense side, is that one, in workers' compensation generally, we're dealing with a lot of injured laborers. People doing heavy work, people doing factory work, construction work, things like that.
The people we're calling essential workers now.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Yeah. And there is kind of a disconnect between a lot of like highly educated attorneys and labor workers. And I have always seen that disconnect of on both sides, just like kind of not knowing how to communicate with their client, or even, from the defense side, how to communicate effectively with someone on the other side. And when I did applicants work, I remember I was the difficult client guy. So like if anybody was difficult, they'd be like, oh, I'm sorry, Aston, you got to deal with this guy, because no
What
one
do you
else.
think makes you so compassionate and empathetic towards these applicants?
It's how I am generally in life. I have no judgments upon anybody, and I have no like preconceptions about anyone. So if I meet you and you tell me you're the CEO of a company, I don't immediately assume you're a genius or smarter than me or better than me. And the same thing if I like meet you on the street and you roll up to me trying to offer me, a dime bag of weed or something, or whatever happens in downtown Los Angeles. All sorts of crazy people come up to you in the street. You don't
Say how much?
and I'm like, dime bags? This is the 70s, sir? There's a store around the corner. But you don't, like, I don't assume that that guy doesn't have anything to tell me,
Sure.
right? And that's how I kind of treat everyone. I think a lot of people, and I've encountered it a lot, that they kind of have this, I'm smarter than you or better than you because maybe you speak a different language, or you didn't graduate from high school, or you work you're working on a factory line or something, or that you have like less value than somebody. And it's not part of me. Like my family's across the spectrum. I've got family that's from the suburbs of Maryland to Brooklyn to Philly, like North Philly. I got cousins in jail. I've got cousins that are doctors and lawyers, so I've just, I grew up in like this like insanely diverse place that went from this like super rich neighborhood to projects, and we were all in school together. And so it's kind of just always been my upbringing and approach to life.
Okay, so speaking of empathy and compassion, Donald Trump. So I hear about I see some like social media figures, like black Trump supporters. I have to understand, first of all, I should have done this before we even had you enter the contest. You are not a Trump supporter, correct?
No, I'm not a Trump supporter. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, you're not a Trump supporter. Okay.
Yeah.
So can you understand how somebody could be a black Trump supporter?
Very easily.
Why?
All right, so I actually went to Blexit, which was the black exit from the Democratic Party. Candace Owens, her thing, because it was downtown. I was watching football in the apartment complex above Blexit, and it was at the Globe Theater downstairs. I just found out that Ann Coulter was hosting it the day before, and I was like, and I live a block and a half, and I was like, what, the Ann Coulter and Blexit is going to be down the street? I'm like, this thing has to be sold out, and I go and look, and there's tickets available, and I was like, they must be expensive, and the tickets were free, and I was like, well, I'm going to go to this, all right?
Okay, so you show up.
So I show up. All right, so Kanye West.
Let's go straight to
Yeah,
it.
big point that Kanye West always says is, black people don't have to be Democrats, and
Yeah.
I think that is so unbelievably true. And I think that black people have a wide range of ideas and opinions. And the Democratic Party is now more recently, they hold themselves out as the party of social justice and change and all that, which isn't something that they've always been.
Correct.
So even, like Joe Biden, right? The guy, we're all most likely going to vote for now. Joe Biden wrote the crime bill, right?
Mm-hmm.
Joe Biden is the reason why Clarence Thomas is in office. Joe Biden was part of segregation and all that. And right now, Joe Biden is better than Donald Trump. And we can all agree on that. But not we all, we all sitting in this room, right? But it's not hard for me to point out, one, all of the past problems that the Democratic Party has had, the problems that they continue to have, and then say, I can point out to you all the wrong things that the Democratic Party has done, and if I do that effectively, I can tell you to come over here. Right? Which I don't think is the answer. I think the answer is to probably go further left.
Mm-hmm.
But if we live in this two-party system where, if I said here, I'm not going to vote for Joe Biden, you guys go, well, you must support Trump, right? That's the answer that everyone gets is, well, then you want Trump to win. You want Trump to win, right? And then, so if I can play that game over here, you can play that game over here. So if we do this thing that we do of sending people back and forth between the party, I can easily send someone to the other side of the party. All I have to do is tell you why this side's wrong, and you can go over here. And if you tell me why this side's wrong, you can go over there. But really, the answer is somewhere over there, up here, or somewhere else that's not in that. And that's what I got. I went to Blexit, and they make solid points of what's wrong here.
Mm-hmm.
But the answer is not here, and that's how they swing people over.
It goes back to that same thing about what you were saying before about how somebody like a white conservative guy he's not doing it for the purpose of helping black people and saying that they can pull themselves up.
Right.
And so it's the same thing with like a Blexit. They're just identifying the problems with the left. Yeah.
And also that too is one thing, because in my younger days when I was trying to find my way into how I felt politically, because my family was very neutral and just like so versed on all issues, but never kind of sided politically. So there's a certain point, and I had different friends who were of the different political parties and their parents, and I was influenced by them and everything. And I'm trying to find my way to a political party. And one thing that I was very big on was I don't want anyone to think that I got to where I am because of some kind of leg up, right? You need to know that I am here off of my ability.
Right.
I might be a little cocky, but it's real hard for you to convince me that there's somebody smarter than me in a room.
You're proud.
You know what I mean, right?
You're proud. You're smart, hardworking dude who's.
I'm not. I don't even like pride. I am confident. I just know who I am, right? And I've always kind of faced this. I had two friends when I got into, I think I got in University of Miami or something. And another friend didn't get into University of Miami. And his response was wish I was black. And I was like, did you see your LSAT score? Because I know your LSAT score. I did so much better than you on the LSAT. I know what my grades are. That that sort of idea of like, and you know, the idea of the reason you calling me a victim or like you saying I need this handout is
That's racist.
right. It's
Yeah.
not, and
Right. It's the core argument conservatives make against affirmative action.
right. Right, and that's and like again, like we said in the beginning, that's not their real argument, but it's the argument that they best put forward, right?
Right.
The real argument is like they don't think I belong there,
Mm-hmm.
but I think it's the same on both ends, right? So like I don't agree with a black Trump supporter. I don't agree with any Trump supporter. I don't agree, but I also like
You're holding your nose, and you're gonna vote. You're gonna probably vote for Biden because it's the best of two.
yeah, unless Kanye's on
It's
the
the
ballot.
it's the lesser evil. I mean,
Yeah, but like I find it I hear the lesser evil argument, but my argument would be why are we fucking with evil?
But
Right.
but you don't. I mean, I want to hear the argument for what's the better alternative.
I don't know. We have to find the better alternative. Like, you know,
But we don't have it yet.
we have to make it. And that and
It's progress, though. It's progress. It's progress.
it's not progress. It is regress. What we are attempting to go back to is essentially, we're not even trying to go back to like Barack Obama style politics. We're not even trying to go back to like Bill Clinton. Like we're going back to a
we're choosing between two 70+ old white dudes.
right.
With racist and weird sexual histories, but one is better than the other.
Like the idea that these are the two best we can come up with is not enough for you to be like, well, we have to flip this table.
You mean Donald Trump and Sleepy
Donald-
aren't the two best options this country can bring forward?
Like it's like it's almost as if they're like begging us. They're like begging us for a revolution. Like,
I
guys,
agree.
what else can we? We're killing black people in the streets. We got Joe Biden. We got Trump. Your health is fucked. Like, couldn't you guys please revolt? And we're like, no. Will you please save us? And like, that to me is like crazy. Like,
All right, well, we got a lot more for Aston to bring to the table. We are about to roll to Deal of the Week, but Aston's going to be back for a bunch of episodes. So, Deal of the Week. My friend, Lisa Michelle, ElisaMichelle.com, she created these. These are LawFlip themed mask holders. They're amazing. Go get it. That's my deal of the week. It's ElisaMichelle.com. Go get these mask holders. They're hot. Lou, what is your deal of the week?
my deal of the week, if you're a sports fan, you finally hit your good time. It's on all the time right now. You could watch basketball throughout the day, hockey throughout the day, baseball throughout the day. You'll get more sports than you've ever wanted, and I've barely watched any.
I gotta say, all this sports that I see, it feels fake. It's like you have the fake fans. It's like
fake.
It's like preseason like fake shit.
Right, fake crowd noise. It's
oh,
pretty.
it's weirded me out. The fake crowd noise. I was like, oh, what a psychological mind trip we are doing on it. Like, if you are going to force me to go out and play in this field, like, we're not pretending. We're not making an illusion of it. We are in an empty stadium.
I know.
With no one in it. Take these faces out of here. Get all this, and like, let's be real about what's actually happening here.
Aston,
So,
what is your deal of the week?
my deal of the week, guys, and this is I had to think about this and it came with this and that. Nature. Nature is a deal of the week, especially if you're here in California. Get outside, climb a hill, and look off of it. That is going to be the best thing for your sanity. It is going to be the best thing for your health and your just overall clarity. And it is the best thing I've been watching all pandemic.
Love it. Okay, legal tip of the week. This is sponsored by Smith & Benowitz. It's an employment, personal injury, and class action law firm. So, by the way, hit us up, 1-833-LawFlip. All right, so if you work in California and you experience race discrimination in 2020 or later, you now get 3 years to file a complaint with the Department of Fair Housing and with the Department of Fair Employment and Housing. For discrimination before 2020, you get 1 year. Protect your rights by taking timely action. Lou, what's your legal tip of the week?
Check your employer's vacation pay policy. And if you have any questions about it, contact an experienced employment lawyer. In these times where you are stuck at home or stuck going to work, any paid time you could have, you want to make sure you're able to fully utilize it. And so get advice on whether you're doing that.
Take that vacay pay, baby. Aston, what is your legal tip of the week?
Report that injury. No matter what it is, you get hurt at work, cut your finger, you twist your ankle, you think it's nothing, it's not going to be anything. Report that injury. It might get worse a few weeks down the line, and they're going, oh, yeah, you didn't get injured. You never said anything to us because you thought it was nothing. So you don't have to do much. You fill out a little form, and you just get it on record. Report that injury no matter what it is.
That kind of reminded me of Little Dicky's song, Save That Money. It was like, report that injury.
Little Dicky, Montgomery County, Pennsylvania, went to the school next to mine. Love that
No
guy.
way.
Yeah.
I love Little Dicky. Great show, Dave.
Great
Amazing.
show. Yeah, just watched it again.
Aston, thank you so much for joining us. You were super inspiring. Tell us where everybody could find you online, or can they email you, or do you have your new website yet, or what's going on?
I don't have my new website yet. It'll be Law Office Aston Wallace. You can email me now at astonwallace@gmail.com. My name's Aston Wallace, which we're pretty rare, so I keep everything pretty straightforward. Just Aston Wallace everything, because there's only two of us, and the other one's in Texas doing hair.
Amazing.
So, yeah, astonwallace@gmail.com, or... yeah, that's about it until I set everything else up.
We're looking forward to watching your success.
For sure, thank you.
LawFlip, we'll see you next week. 1833 LawFlip. Go subscribe.
LawFlip, objection, Your Honor. Turn the game upside down. LawFlip, objection, Your Honor. Turn the game upside down.
Okay, so Ariane, they're asking where they could find us. So for LawFlip, it's at LawFlip and LawFlip.com. For Smith & Benowitz, our law firm, which does personal injury, employment, and class actions, you can find us at Smith Benowitz and SmithBenowitz.com. For the personal stuff, like where you're really going to find the juicy stuff, at Benjy Smith and BenjySmith.com. At Wages Guru and LewisBenowitz.com for Lewis. Oh, so LawFlip is produced, directed, and edited by the young legend Ariane Tabibi, and visual effects and compositions by another young legend, Oren Azad. Intro music provided by Pen Practice. Pen Practice, what is it? Premium instrumentals for upcoming artists by the music industry's top producers. For more info, visit penpracticemusic.com. I had so much fun recording the intro song with my man Hilton Deuce Wright. Looking forward to hearing more and more from Pen Practice. So the LawFlip identity, this hot logo that you're looking at, created by Garrett Whiston and Travis Nagel. Special thank you to Shai and Seth from the Horwitz Marketing Agency. And lastly, a huge thank you to our beautiful wives, Julie and Lisa, for supporting our vision, and all the love to all of our 4 boys combined. Disclaimer, this podcast is made available by Smith & Benowitz for educational and entertainment purposes only. It is only intended to provide general information and opinions about legal and other concepts, and is not intended to be used as a source of legal advice or relied on for legal advice. By listening to this podcast, you understand that no attorney-client relationship is being formed between you and Smith & Benowitz or any of its attorneys. This podcast should not be used as a substitute for competent legal advice from a licensed professional attorney in your state.